And it's time for Your Best You. And as you know, every Thursday morning, our good friend Sheree Clark, Jackie, from Fork in the Road, joins us here on the program. But you have to realize that Sheree is a little bit more involved than just coming on this program every Thursday morning for a couple of minutes and hanging out with us. You have a lot of projects going on at the same time, and you have one coming up that is really special. We want you to take a look at what Sheree has coming up next.
Ben Franklin once said, "Life's tragedy is that we get old too soon and wise too late." My name is Sheree Clark. I'm a midlife courage coach and host of It's Your Time, Turning the Midlife Crisis into Your Midlife Awakening. It's a series of short, fast-paced interviews where we'll look at everything from spirituality to betrayal, from coming to terms with your changing body to how to get better sleep. We'll even take a look at your relationship with alcohol and with sugar. You can be my guest simply by clicking the button that says Get VIP Access. After that, I'll send you an email with all the details. I promise you're going to love this.
Wow, that is pretty interesting, young lady. We're going to love this.
Yeah. Well, this is something you've done before, correct?
This is my fifth time.
Fifth time.
So by now I'm kind of starting to get it.
Yeah, you're in the groove now,
People
right?
are catching on. Love it.
That's right.
All right,
exactly.
so tell us more.
Okay, so this one is called It's Your Time, Turning the Midlife Crisis into Your Midlife Awakening. And my audience, who I'm primarily directing this at, is women who are 40 and wiser. Okay, so because when we get to be that age, there's a lot of things that happen in life that change for us. Our bodies change and our interests change, career changes, the kids are getting older and that type of thing. So we've got all kinds of topics related to getting older that we're going to be addressing. And I've got 40 experts.
40. Where did you find 40 experts?
I have 40 fabulous experts, and a few of them I found because they've written books. And I just brought a couple of them here to introduce to you today.
All right.
But these people, these experts run all gamuts of topics and expertise, and you're going to just really love them.
So remind me how this works, because you're basically having a conversation, correct? And you're answering, or asking, I should say, questions that not everybody would probably think of.
That's exactly right. And so if people wanted to hear the interview series, what they do, they would opt in. The URL for that is really easy to find. It's midlife-newlife.com.
Okay.
So midlife, and it's your new life.
Right.
And then you just opt in, and then every day I'll send you a link to another interview in this 40-person series.
Right.
The entire month of May, and we double up on weekends. That's where I got 40
that's how you got 40.
Yes, exactly. So let me talk to you, let me just tell you a few of the fabulous experts.
Yeah, entice us with your experts.
Yes, and that won't be hard,
Let's
trust me.
go down the list here.
Okay, let's start in front of me. The kickoff day on May 1st, our kickoff speaker is Debi Sibler. And Debi's a PhD, so it's Dr. Debi Sibler, and she talks about the transitions, the crises that happen in our life that make changes happen for us. And one of the big ones that we talked about is the process of betrayal. And so betrayal is one of those events that happen in life, can happen. And betrayal, when we talk about it, it might mean spousal betrayal, but it could also mean betrayal by a friend who told your secret when it wasn't theirs to tell.
Right.
Or something that happens along those lines where you lose your trust in someone. That affects us emotionally.
Right.
That affects our happiness in our life. And she and I talk a great deal about that, what to do about it, how to identify it, what it costs you if you don't address it.
Right. It affects your happiness, also affects your health.
Oh, tremendously.
Say, what if our body doesn't do what we want it to?
Yeah, your body betraying you, that's certainly an experience we have all started.
That's another book. That's right here. Okay.
That's exactly
That's the
right.
sequel.
That's right. Jackie, down by you, I have Dr. Felice Gersh. So many of my experts are physicians. Dr. Felice Gersh is an example of that. She's written a book called PCOS SOS, and even if PCOS is polyovarian cystic syndrome.
PCOS.
Yeah. And even if you don't have it, it's something that you'll be interested in this particular interview, because she also talks about hormones, and she calls it your rhythms, hormones, and happiness. What she talks about is how to keep your hormones in check. Little things like what time you get to sleep, stuff we intrinsically know but need to be reminded of. She also talks about things like daylight. And so even if you don't have PCOS, even if you're maybe postmenopausal and that's not something that's affecting you, this book and her interview will be stunning.
I'll tell you what, just the sleep factor alone would be worth this conversation.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. When we're talking about aiming at 40 plus, 40 awesome women, plus women out there, that's what you're they're taking over your body at that point. Hormones are going nuts and they're changing, and it's hard to understand what that means, and hopefully that's going to kind of help dissect it a little bit for you.
Exactly. So you learn what to address, how to address it, but you also learn how to understand yourself. Because the worst thing, maybe you know, Jackie, maybe you don't, but you get down on yourself. You're like, I should be, I used to be, why can't I? And all these things, and she helps us address those issues.
Okay.
Annie Grace is my next to you, Jackie.
Yes.
The green book. Annie is a repeat guest of mine. She was on 2 years ago when her first book came out. Her new book, The Alcohol Experiment, is out. As you can guess, she talks about our relationship with alcohol, particularly as we get older. It affects the body differently. The liver processes it differently. And as we age, not only is it we synthesize it differently, but what we are using alcohol for can change. It can become a dependency.
No question.
And it can become an addiction. It can become a social issue. So we talk about that. She's not a teetotaler, not a Bible thumper, not an AA person, but she does have a way of making you take a look at your relationship.
She gives you the facts.
She totally gives you the facts and lets you come to your own conclusion.
And never really thought that your body is probably handling it different than you did in your 20s and 30s.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and it's so true. And if anybody who does consume alcohol, you know, one glass of wine used to be plenty. Now it's a half a glass, and you're passed out and feel bad the next day.
So the next day is what you really got to worry about, right?
That's the thing to worry about. Exactly. That's the thing for me. I can't see that book next to you. Okay. Prosperity After Divorce is Michelle Jacobik. Wonderful interview again. If a divorce is in the future, even if you're getting married and you're not planning for it, certainly we don't, but it's a good idea to have in mind, what if the worst occurs?
Have a plan.
Exactly. And it's not about getting what you're due and everything, all of that, taking the other person down. It's about being peaceful in the process, coming out of it with grace, coming out of it in a way that you feel whole.
Right.
And she does a really nice job with that. Then next to her is Holly Bertone. Holly's written a book called Thriving in the Workplace with Autoimmune Disease.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And she has had several different challenges. She had breast cancer, and she has also had Hashimoto's. Both of those things compromised her ability to work, and she talks about your rights in the workplace. What you should know, what you as an employer should know are the rights of the individual,
right.
How to be empathetic to that person so that they can continue to work and serve you, and also how to be a good steward of your own body and making sure that you come out of this hole.
That's actually an important book for both employers and people that may be afflicted.
Yes,
to read.
and the interview is really important too for anybody who's facing any kind of a health challenge. It doesn't have to be autoimmune or cancer. It could be anything that compromises your energy level and those kinds of things, because it does affect us, and she teaches you good coping strategies.
Right.
I like that.
And then finally, and not finally, but just finally for today.
For this group.
Yes, Dr. Valencia Porter, and she wrote a book about resilient health, and what she talks about is toxins. Now, toxins, we just talked about one being alcohol.
Alcohol, right.
But there are other toxins, some that we don't have control of. Things like when you pump gas in your car and you see the air kind of doing that wavy thing,
right.
You're breathing that in. What does that do to you? Maybe nothing. But when it's combined with the dry cleaning fluid, because you just took your vest to the cleaners, and then combine that to the EMFs of the phone that's in your pocket, which are right next to some of your important organs, all of those kinds of things are the things that accumulate to give us either really robust health or maybe not so much.
Right. So and this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Total tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And these are just my book writing experts. I've got others that have done other fabulous, wonderful things, and I'll tell you a little bit more about those as we move ahead in the.
So 40 conversations in 1 month.
40 of them. 40,
and
count them.
And we can start signing up for that now.
Now, yes. You would go to www.midlife-newlife.com, and I hope that you do. This is really, it's free. I do this once a year, the entire month of May. May is almost here.
It is,
It is,
unbelievably
believe it or
enough.
not.
But we can learn something and just have a new awareness to ourselves in so many different ways. Remind us, Sheree, if people want to get in touch with you or learn more about what you're about every single day, how can they do so?
Well, if these experts aren't enough for you and you want to reach out to me, info@fork-road.com is my email address, or you can visit the website, which is www.fork-road.com.
And we just saw it
Love
pop up there. You do one-on-one coaching too.
I do that.
That's perfect.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming in.
You're so welcome.
All right.
Thank you.